Hey, what's going on, fight fans? Hey, this is Coach D. First episode of Compete Next. Now, Compete Next is dedicated to educating not only coaches, fighters, and the fans on the development of mixed martial arts when it comes to youth and amateur development. So today we're going to have our first conversation about moving forward. So if you've been following me or you've been following Gamma USA, Gamma Worldwide, or your favorite athlete that's competing in either one of these promotions, you will realize that mixed martial arts, both for the youth and the amateur side, are heading towards Olympic recognition as a whole and being under UWW for mixed martial arts and pancration. So youth being pancration and amateur mixed martial arts is going to be the same under UWW. So now we've grown from 2017 to just international competition in the Gamma Worldwide to now being under UWW moving forward. So it's already been approved, it's already been voted on. Now we're heading towards Olympic recognition, and that's the next phase of the growth when it comes to mixed martial arts. So if you already know about sports, when it comes to mixed martial arts, you know there is an entertainment side and there is a sports side. Now, the entertainment side, even though if you look under the definition for mixed martial arts, it still says sport. So it is a sport, but when you look at the UFC, One Championship, PFL, it falls more under entertainment, which means they add a little bit more to getting fans to be entertained by the sport. So you go over backstories, you go over back and forth drama. You add a lot more personal into the professional. And that gives you the idea of where the entertainment comes from, because a lot could be done on the entertainment side. Then you get to the sports side of mixed martial arts, where you have more towards competition. Like if you follow wrestling, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, Muay Thai, those are tournament style competition you can do like a regular match, or you could do a tournament. So with that being said, the sports side of the mixed martial arts is geared towards the tournament. That's why we're able to move towards, Olympic recognition. So let's start breaking some things down. When you look at a mixed martial artist, right, meaning MMA, and you try to follow them, see what they're doing, check their record, all that kind of good stuff, you have to go to certain platforms in order to find that information, like what's their record, who they've fought, where they've competed. Only certain websites will give you that. Okay. So a lot of fighters get confused as letting that information be what brands them as athletes, right? So the first conversation is going to be, what is an athlete and what is a branded athlete? So a regular mixed martial artist is an athlete who just competes in tournaments. So he trains, he signs up to compete. So he'll compete on a local promotion, or he may compete in a tournament, right? And you can see his record. He's competed here, he's competed there, and if you're, a fan on Facebook and you follow him, you can see what he's done, who he's competed, and, and you can kind of hit him up and go, hey, how things are going. That's primarily an athlete. He doesn't really do too much to build people following him, to build people seeing what he's doing. He just puts stuff out there and people tend to engage. Okay. But a branded athlete, it's their job to engage with fans. It's their job to highlight what they're doing. It's their job to partner up with sponsors, brands, to get not only their name, but their accomplishments out there with an effort, which means they're doing it for people to respond, like, share, follow, comment, right? And they're looking to make revenue doing that. A regular athlete just competes for the joy of it, not looking to make revenue. That can change, but that's not their mentality. They just want to compete. A branded athlete is looking to make money off competing. So it doesn't matter where you start, it matters how you grow. Okay? So if you look at some of our popular athletes when it comes to mixed martial arts, especially on the sports side, when it comes to tournament styles, you have strong athletes like Max Sterry, who's like 85-4, something like that record, right? He's known worldwide. He's competed around the world. He has a lot of matches. So you look him up, you can see his accolades. He's now getting more into branding himself now. Now he's engaging, he's talking more, he's being more vocal about what he does, he's showing himself more. So he went from an athlete to now becoming a branded athlete. Okay. Then you have athletes like Talon Warden, who kind of became a branded athlete pretty quickly. You know, he's one of the youngest athletes to get picked up by a management agency, you know what I'm saying? And his name is becoming well recognized. He gets a lot of sponsors because of his community and his popularity, which means he can pretty much, you know, through sponsorship and through support, fund his success in the sport. You know, he doesn't have problems getting what he needs to go where he needs to go, and he responds likewise. He comments, he does articles, he engages, he talks. He does a lot to get his name out there. Okay, right? Then you have a fighter like Taylor Henshaw, right, who's becoming such a popular fighter, right, that people from different promotions pay her to compete, where she can make money earlier on just for showing up at a lot of jiu-jitsu tournaments. She just won 5K at a recent grappling submission tournament. So I highlight these three athletes because they're some of our most popular athletes right now who are doing great things, and they're kind of understanding the difference between being a mixed martial arts athlete and being a mixed martial arts branded athlete. It's understanding what your job is to do. As a branded athlete, it's your job to engage. It's your job to highlight, to showcase, to tell your story, to make yourself available. It's your job. Fans would like to see what you're doing. You can't expect to be popular and you're not doing anything for that popularity to happen. Just winning events cannot guarantee that. So another area where athletes make mistakes is thinking they should be further along popularity-wise than they are as an athlete, trying to become a branded athlete, is understanding the difference between competing on a promotion and expecting that promotion to market you and brand you. A promotion's job is to promote the event, the entirety of the event, which means how many matches, who's fighting on it, who has a belt, who doesn't, like I said, who's the main event, who's the co-main event, who's the feature, right? And anybody else who's popular so that fans know where they're going to be competing. It's their job to sell the entirety of the event, meaning whoever that promotion is, they're selling their promotion and their event on their promotion. They're not selling you. They're selling the promotion. And a lot of athletes get that mixed up. They're thinking because they're fighting here and they may be a main event or a feature or a co-main, that's their marketing. It's not. You're just on that card and you happen to be in that slot, right? It's your job as a branded or up-and-coming branded athlete to brand yourself going into that event. So fans know where they can come watch you compete if they're your fans. If you're expecting other fans to hop on board to you because you're competing there, that doesn't always work that way, right? You got to brand yourself and market yourself so people can understand, okay, this is where the fighter I enjoy is competing next. So a lot of fans get that confused, you know. So that's when the first starts of what we're going to do. I'm going to cover a lot more, is getting ready to push forward for youth and amateur mixed martial arts, heading towards Olympic recognition, heading towards international competition. You'll see a lot more things happening. So we have to start telling the story about what's going on, right? So I'm Coach D. We'll compete next. Get ready for my next episode where we talk more about branding and development when it comes to youth and amateur athletes, right? This is Coach D. To hear from me again, peace out.